Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Everything AI and Law podcast with Tolulope Awoyomi, Tolu for short. And today I'm thrilled to have with me Maureen Murat. Maureen is an advisor and a principal and attorney at Crowdy Advisors, and one of her specialties is in technology consulting for entrepreneurs. Thank you for being here, Mert. And please introduce yourself to our listeners and perhaps some extra additional aspects of your expertise or experience.
Sure. Hi, Tolu. It's nice to see you again. And yes, as you said, my name's Maureen Murat. I am a multi-hyphenate, as they say. So I have a small business. I am an attorney outside of my business, and I sometimes teach as well. So lots of things going on. My background for my business mainly focuses on small businesses and entrepreneurs trying to raise money in alternative ways. So essentially, if you're not able to raise money from the venture capital world, then you can look at other options, which is via crowdfunding, regulated crowdfunding, which allows you to still be able to raise money for equity, but you retain a lot of control over your company, etc. It's regulated, so there are lots of documents and things like that. So that's where I come in to kind of help people with the compliance issues. And I think just a sign of the times is that this most small businesses have some technology aspect to them. So
Right.
it really is helpful to understand the language to some extent, right? Because I'm not a technologist, I'm not going to be coding or anything like that. But I do want to understand it because at the end of the day, you do want to actually sell this product, right? And so if people don't know what you're selling, sorry about that, then it's going to be really hard. Even if it's like the greatest thing in the world, right? It has to be understandable. And I do want to give my little disclaimer because I know I'm an attorney, but I still think that even with whatever I say today, if you are looking into starting a business, you're already in the business or you're researching, that you should just take my whatever I say for informational purposes only. I'm not giving any legal advice. And I'm not giving any directives like this is what you should do. But please do, take whatever I say into consideration, but know that it's for informational purposes only.
Thank you so much. And I really like what you said about, especially about the understanding the technology or business, because one of my favorite quotes is by Marie Curie. She said, "Nothing in life is to be feared; it is only to be understood." And which is one of the purpose of this podcast to help lawyers understand AI and AI engineers, companies, and researchers understand and build better, responsible AI systems. So talking about AI, talking about technology, and you advise businesses and entrepreneurs. So what do you think are the legal issues associated with the evolving AI technology, which is one of the buzzwords of this season?
I think there are lots of issues to consider whenever you take technology and you're saying that this technology is going to either enhance an experience or replace an experience or replace a person or a function. I think you have to be very mindful of what that means, what the impact could be for the people that would be on the other side of that technology. And so I think one of the things we hear a lot about is, privacy and security issues. And I think that just is across the board for all types of technologies. But I think specifically where AI is involved because a lot of the laws that we've seen creep up in the last, let's say, 10 years have, really tried to hone in the information that companies use, your information that companies use, how they use it, when they use it, and they should be telling you in some shape or form. Now, whether we read the fine print on this 100-page document, is one thing, but they're supposed to tell you. And so with AI, it's kind of hard to do that if what's behind it is not necessarily a person. It's like three levels, before you hit a person, let's say. And when you think about machine learning, which, informs the AI to help the AI make these different decisions, you have to think about, like, this machine learning, what coding or what protocols are being used to help that machine learn and gather data that it could feed, along the lines to this AI to make these decisions, etc. So I think, aside from the privacy, I think the other thing, and security issues, I think we also have to think about the types of information that could be picked up and shared. So it could be your likeness, your image, your face, which can be protected by trademark law, not trademark law. Well, it's trademark, copyright, and patents. Those types of information that could be used without your permission, even if you already have, something at the USPTO, you've already filed for your patent or your trademark or your copyright, and so the AI is using it and you might not know. And then, also thinking about how the information is being used, other information that might be used. So like your health data, the data that's on your watch when you take your steps. I think those all present issues, legal issues, not only for the person who might not know their information is being used, but also the company who is accessing this information through this third party or through, this technology, and not really knowing how they got that information. So I think we'll have to see a lot of companies take on liability, or at least consider whether there should be some liability for all these different types of information that they'll have access to because of the AI. All that to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Seems like there'll be lots of issues coming up. Yeah. And so what do you think about regulating AI, especially balancing innovation and the ethical and legal concerns? Are you more on the stringent side or lenient side, or?
I think I've been, maybe I'm biased, partly because I have to kind of see it from a practical perspective,
Mhm.
right? Like, in action, how does this work? But I'm on the fence, and I feel like I'm this way for different types of technology, like fintech and things like that, where I try to see where both sides are coming from. So I understand the desire to regulate and try to find ways to, put up guardrails and control how this is done. But then I also understand the other side where, the evolution of technology kind of requires for things to be, bold and different and new, and require you to think differently, think outside the box, etc. So, the ideal thing for me would be somewhere where they kind of meet in the middle and, maybe not get married, but at least walk, side by side, because I think the goal is the same, right? We want people to have good experiences with the technology. We want people to feel like whatever product or whatever they're getting from the technology is something that they feel that is worth it. But we also want people to feel protected as well, right? We don't want, I'm pretty sure people who are building these products don't want scammers to come in and scam their customers and things like that. So I get that. But I don't think we should lead with, the technology's bad and, people are going to get scammed and that's it. I think there are so many other things that could that people could benefit from. And we also have to, as people who are just kind of, looking at it from both sides, people have the option and the not confidence, individuality, right? Like, people should be able to make their own decisions. If they say, I want to use this type of AI, or I want to, delve into this technology, a lot of times the people who tend to make the rules about it have no idea how it works, or how, and so they're creating these restrictions without really understanding how it affects the people and people's decisions to be able to, the way for them to make decisions, right? Their ability to be able to make decisions. So I don't know if I answered your question, but essentially, I do think there should be some regulation, because I do see the stringent side where, all this information is just, it could really blow up. But I also want the people on the other side actually creating these products to also speak up and be like, well, these are the things that we see this being able to do. So maybe the two
Yeah.
sides could talk to each other.
I think that's the best, yes. Having a balance where the two sides talk to each other and everyone is maybe not happy, but at least everyone is kind of satisfied with the result. So this is just a quick one. So what would you say to people who are scared about AI taking their jobs?
You know, that's so funny because people say AI is going to replace lawyers, right?
Do you
So
think so?
I don't see it. And I'm not
Okay.
saying that because I think I'm irreplaceable or that I'm, invincible is a better word. I'm not saying that. But I do think that when you take into consideration the builders of the technology and saying that's going to take certain jobs, will some jobs be eliminated or rerouted? Yes, because the functions will change, right? You might not need people in this in this chain anymore. Maybe you could do this and maybe be a little more efficient with two or three. But I don't think that the two or three other people who are in the part of this chain should just go and be unemployed, right? I think that, and this is something that someone I follow, Professor Tanya Evans, IP Professor Tanya Evans, she always talks about upskilling your workforce. Like, so these people who might, not be able to do this function doesn't mean that they're worthless or they can't do anything else. I think we should look at it
Right.
that way, right? As opposed to saying, oh, we're going to replace all these people aren't going to have jobs. How about, okay, we're going to make this technology more efficient. How can we prepare the people who are in those functions who, where the technology will take over? What else can they do? What other things can they do to contribute to that? Because at the end of the day, all this technology, I mean, I know they're like, oh, AIs are going to take over, but right now it's really the technology, the updates and all that is really pushed by humans, right? Still, people are behind the data. So the data can be biased. Here's one. So maybe you need to include some people in this so that you can de-bias the data or maybe find ways to make it more inclusive, things like that. I mean, we've also seen, and I've seen this in action recently, where sometimes the AI can't recognize a brown or black face. Still, to this day, in 2024. And there are
Wow.
lots of us everywhere. So I feel like when we think about this technology, let's not try to replace people. Let's just try to make everybody, be part of it. And, you know, generally speaking, a lot of times when new technology is brought into our space, our communities, it depends on who's bringing it and who they want to.
True.
So they might want to take advantage of, these black brown communities to use the technology, but might not want to help them benefit and gain wealth from the technology as well. And I think one thing that's really good about AI and fintech and all that, I think we are like breaking barriers, like so now you see plenty of people of color who are founders, who are raising money, who are doing all these things where it might not have been that way 20, 25 years ago. So I don't think it's going to replace my job. I'll tell you that.
Okay, talking about AI
I'll end with
replacing
that.
me. So, okay, following from what you said about AI replacing lawyers, maybe not. So, how do you think AI is revolutionizing both the legal profession and legal education as well?
So now there, I could see the link, right? The correlation. I think that AI will definitely and is already helping with researching and things like that. Now, we still can't rely solely on the research because we've seen AI make up cases and get lawyers in trouble. So there's that. So, but I do think that as more data gets funneled in, as machine learning operations continue to feed AI and so that the AI can make decisions, etc. I think that it will just become more efficient and better. And so I could see it enhancing or easing some of the stressors in the legal profession, and that I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I mean, if you are looking at like the evolution of just technology generally, like we're on that path, So I
Yeah.
think it's okay if we can find ways to make some positions more efficient, some positions more what's the word, more attainable because
How about
again
paid hours?
sorry, again.
The paid hours, because lawyers
Yes.
work there.
That
How
too.
about that?
So I think that there's an opportunity there for different industries to be enhanced by that. So even when I was talking about health data, I think yes, I mean, there are data privacy issues, yes, but let's say you needed to get your data over from one doctor to the next doctor, or maybe they could anonymize some of your health data to really find a cure or something, or a treatment for some sort of disease or illness. I think that would be helpful. But obviously, you still need the researchers, you still need the medical staff, you still need those people to be able to get the data, good data, because if you put, crappy data into a system, you get, what comes out on the other end is still crappy data. It doesn't get better because you're using better technology. So there's that. But, that could be something that could be beneficial, right? And it wouldn't replace the doctor. The doctor would still be providing the treatments, but the AI could help, make that profession more efficient.
Okay, so does that affect the pay of lawyers?
Do you think so? You're saying if you use AI, would that affect the pay of lawyers?
Yeah,
I don't think so. And don't quote me on it. I don't know
because
what's
I
gonna
know
happen
that
later.
lawyers charge per hour, right? So if AI makes everything faster, so what's gonna happen to their paycheck?
Well, I mean, so yes, lawyers get paid by the hour. Sometimes lawyers get paid by project. Sometimes they're salary. So there are different ways to get paid. But when you go to someone, and this is generally speaking, no technology or whatnot, when you go to someone who has the background, experience, and all that in a specific area, you're not paying for how slow or fast they do their thing. I think you're paying
Okay.
for the background and experience to make sure that whatever you ask them to do, that they're going to do it right, they're going to do it well, and you move on with your life. Whether that's a lawyer, a doctor, a psychologist, people at the grocery store, your spa therapist, all these people. I think that's something that we should look at, because I think sometimes when we look at the amount of something, we associate that with value. And sometimes that's not the case, right? It could cost a lot and not have that much value, or it could cost very little and still and be very valuable to you because of whatever the outcome or the result is from whatever you're getting. So I don't think it would change the salary or the hourly or anything like that. I think it would make people more efficient, yes, but the lawyer would still have to do their job. Like, I would not solely rely on
And AI.
technology to get something done. I think, and I think most lawyers wouldn't do that. They wouldn't solely rely on it. It would be a tool in their toolbox. It would not replace a function of theirs, if that makes sense. That's how I think we should look at AI.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. I
Yeah.
could go on and on and on and on, but I just want to respect your time. And are there like any final thoughts you'd like to say or something?
No, you asked me some really good questions, so thank you. I guess the only thing I would say is that I think a lot of times, and I mentioned this earlier, a lot of times when we're talking about technology, the presumption is that the person who's talking about it should also know how to create it and develop it and all that. And I think that this is where teamwork makes the dream work, that
Right.
saying, because when you're creating something, especially if you're a small business and entrepreneur, you really can't do everything on
Everything.
your own. So you do want to have help or a team or someone to help you out. So if you're the one building the product but you might have a hard time explaining what it is that you're building, then you might need someone to help you with that, right? And so I think from the legal perspective, if you will, if you're an attorney or someone in the legal world or thinking about, getting into compliance and things like that, I think the best way to do that is to learn about the technology, go to meetups, etc. But don't feel like you have to be necessarily an expert at it to be able to contribute, because everybody has a different perspective. Someone comes to me and offers me something, I'm going to ask different questions than you might ask, right? And so this is
True.
why we need to have not only diverse population, but I think diverse population also breeds diverse perspective. Like, you will automatically get a diverse
Right.
perspective because you're bringing different people to the table.
True.
So keep that in mind.
Wow, thank you so much. I wish this wouldn't end, but of course I we have to go. Thank you so much, Maureen, for being here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your invaluable insights and experience with us. Thank you. And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And of course, do subscribe and turn on the notification bell to be notified of future episodes. And until next time, please take care and goodbye. Thank you.